Hi, fam. Welcome back to another episode of New Earth Rhythm Podcast. I don't have too long because my family is out enjoying the sunshine at the playground. This is Mama's time to hop on and talk about Imbolc, which is occurring in the Northern Hemisphere in just 8 days. So I'm only going to talk about Imbolc in the Northern Hemisphere. I know I have a lot of listeners in the Southern Hemisphere. That's what the 2026 Sovereign Strategy Map is for. You can get that for free in my link tree. Okay, it breaks down Northern and Southern Hemisphere, but right now I'm talking to my Northern Hemisphere people, y'all, because I'm feeling lit up, feeling excited about this. Okay, because I'm feeling it massively, majorly. Okay, you guys know I made my Winter Solstice episode was like so raw. Like I had this crazy meditation download on the Winter Solstice, which really started to come to light on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, as we shifted into a new numerology, like a new octave of 2026 being a universal year number one. That's the first note of the new octave. I just really see so clearly how living in harmony with the eight Sabbats of the Celtic wheel, the eight major moments throughout the year that Earth herself is going through a threshold, and how that is happening within our bodies, arriving in our bodies, landing in our bodies, and bringing such clarity and intention to these moments. It's made the biggest positive impact on my life. So I share it with y'all because last year I truly popped off. I literally like self-actualized, stepped into this new level of self-mastery and success because I actively harnessed the Sabbats of the Celtic wheel with my full heart and presence and intention. Okay, I had done it a few years prior to that, but never with that same level of devotion. And this year, again, full level of devotion. I am stoked to share it with you. So, winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, December 21st, total darkness for 3 days. It's like the sun stands still, the darkest, longest night. We are in cosmic gestation. You release the old, and then the new rhythm is seeded during that time. And on December 25th, as the sun moves north and begins lighting up north again, your highest path forward has been revealed, was slowly starting to reveal itself, become very clear to you. It's not about taking action and declaring it to the world and shouting it into the world. Okay, it was about letting it form, letting it gestate, letting it grow, becoming super clear, and then starting to set up your architecture around it and anchoring deeply. Q1 in the Northern Hemisphere is all about anchoring deeply, initiating lightly, but anchoring deeply and setting up your systems and architecture and clarifying your language, clarifying your direction. So then 6 weeks later, we have Imbolc on February 1st, which is emergence of first light, emergence of that inner fire beginning to it's igniting the entire year. This is the moment where 2026 ignites. Okay. And it's again, it's wanting absolute clarity. Now you name it with honesty. And it's the halfway point between winter and spring. Okay. So the intentions that you set on February 1st, the language you're using, the beliefs you hold, the perspective you have, the direction you declare is what pops off in the spring, is what grows in the spring, I should say. It's what's born in the spring. So literally Imbolc is one of the most important times of the entire year. The way that you approach Imbolc is how you're going to approach all of 2026. And this feels even more powerful than usual this year because then on February 17th, we enter the fire horse energy, which is embodied momentum. 2026 is literally the most amplifying year of the decade. So this Imbolc this year, 16 days before the fire horse energy, where everything's going to get amplified. Okay, it's so extra important because your intention about your highest path forward and your declaration and your devotion to your highest path forward is exactly what gets amplified by the fire horse. So attune to this energy, use it right, and watch how this year changes the trajectory of your life. You'll look back decades from now and know that this was when everything started to pop the F off for you. Okay, so it's important. Let's go. So the fire horse energy doesn't like create your frequency. It doesn't change you like the way the snake energy did of 2025, which was like ultimate transformation, death, and rebirth at a cellular level, the great shed. Okay, then it's like whatever you shed, now you are who you're meant to be. Now you're in alignment with your highest truth and your highest path forward and your highest self. That's what gets amplified by the fire horse. So if you're out of alignment, if you're in struggle city, if you're in survival mode, if you're in chaos, unfortunately, that's what gets amplified. But if you are aligned, embodied, consciously co-creating, and in devotion to your highest path forward, and willing to take bold, courageous action and fearless action in the world and to be seen and to shine your light, that's what gets amplified. All right, so February 1st, clarifying our intention, letting that inner fire emerge, but it's still Q1. We're still setting up the architecture and anchoring deeply, and it's like light initiation. Then, like around 6 weeks later, we've got the spring equinox. That's Ostara. That is like the true rebirth. That's where everything starts to grow. So, all of your intentions and everything you plant, everything you seeded, and everything you've been watering and putting your intentions on in Q1, now it's starting to grow in Q2. With spring, it's starting to grow and you're nourishing it and you're letting it grow. Okay, you're starting to put it out into the world. You're sharing it with the world. It's starting to pop up. It's starting to blossom and bloom. And you're feeding it. You're feeding what you want to grow. All your energy is going towards feeding what you want to grow. Then 6 weeks later, after that, we have Beltane on May 1st, which is like vitality, baby. This is like fire, that inward fire that we've had these last 6 months. It boom starts to go outward. This is like high impact presence, full visibility. Like May 1st, there's a reason I've always loved May. Like May in New York, it was just like everyone's starting to feel like late summer or late spring, summer vibes. Everyone's making more plans. Everyone's staying out longer and staying out late and being busier and being seen, right? And then like last year around May 1st, that's when I just started posting on social media on Instagram every single day. I literally went from having 1,000 followers to 30,000 followers in just the spring and summer months because it was like high impact presence, full visibility, full shining your light so brightly, like being the brightest star, the brightest sun of your life, like letting that just whatever the rhythm is that's seated for your year, it's the world is seeing it now all summer, okay? And you're letting yourself be seen, and that starts in May 1st. Okay, then around Lita, which is the summer solstice, again, that's high impact presence. You are the sunshine of your life, shining so brightly and allowing what is working to illuminate even more. Now it's obvious what is working. Now it's obvious what is making the biggest positive impact and what is bringing you the most revenue and the most happiness and like fulfillment and excitement and satisfaction. So you're letting that burn, you're letting it go, you're letting it be seen, right? And then in 6 weeks later, we have Lufthansa. I'm not saying that right. That's like an airline, isn't it? It doesn't matter. Lamas is the other word for it on August 1st, which is like first harvest. Now, everything that's been lit up all year, everything that's been working, you are seeing the financial rewards for it. You're seeing the satisfaction rewards for it. It is literally first harvest, right? But now it's obvious whatever's been draining your vitality, whatever aspect of what you've been creating is not bringing you the most joy or like the most returns in the way that you thought. That's clear now, and you start to let that go. Then 6 weeks later, we have Mabon, which is the fall equinox. And this is when we're like starting to return to equilibrium. It's like, okay, how can I balance out my life again? All of that high impact visibility and presence starts to balance out with a more like grounded internal, it's like grounding out with your internal world. You're letting go of what you don't like, you're refining what you do like. Then 6 weeks later, we have why am I blanking? Samhain on November 1st, aka right around Halloween. The veil is thin. This is when you go in. That fire, you let it go all the way inward, and that inner flame of like your outward energy all spring and summer turns back in toward self mastery and refinement. And you don't need to like extend all of your energy outward anymore, but you let it come in. Okay. And then you get quiet and you get still. And as the veil thins, you ask your ancestors and your guides to show you what is the next step, what comes next. This is when you literally like connect with your ancient ancestors, with your divine feminine goddesses and gods and your highest self, and you allow what wants to be let go of to be let go of. Okay, you like detach at this point, and you're curious and you're open and you are ready to give back to the earth and live in deep harmony and commune with the earth and your community and your family, and you tend to the family fires. Okay, and your energy starts returning back home to your family, okay, to your community, your local community. All right. And then it's like winter time and our energy is getting pulled in and we're starting to slow down and we don't have as much vitality. So we're taking it slow. We're taking it easy. It's getting darker out. We're sleeping more. We're resting more. We are refining. Now we step into our full authority. This is legacy building. This is when you own your authority. You completely let go of what needs to be let go of at this point. Okay, and you consolidate your power, and power must be sustainable. All right, and then it's leading towards that winter solstice again. All right, then we let go of that last cycle. We return to the 3 days of darkness and cosmic gestation. And then the new rhythm is seated for 2027. All right, so we're just like continuing to build on our highest path forward in harmony with Earth herself, how Earth is moving. All right, so I synthesize all of this in my 2026 Sovereign Strategy Guide with all of the major planetary movements of tropical astrology, which affects us collectively. This affects the markets, this affects visibility, this affects the culture, global movements. So, tropical astrology is very important for navigating what I call sun time or collective time. But then I also weave in sidereal astrology, which affects the body. This is true sky star time, which affects the body and what the body actually has capacity for, rather than what the world is telling you to do, what the movements of the world, that's tropical time, that's movements of the world, movements of the collective. Sidereal, true sky, body time shows you, okay, even though the world's doing this, what does my body want? What does my body actually have capacity for? All right. And then the Celtic wheel shows you when to make these moves, when to take action, right? And how to do it. So I weave all of that together, tropical astrology with sidereal astrology with the Celtic wheel. Okay, the sun sets the direction, the body sets the pace. The moon reveals what's true. That's why I often make podcast videos on the full moons and on the new moons, because they're just illuminating the energy that's already existing. All of the energy just becomes very clear. The moon doesn't affect your energy anymore when you reclaim your energetic sovereignty, when you follow your inner authority and your inner compass and you're in alignment, embodiment, and consciously co-creating. The moon doesn't toss you around like the tides anymore. The moon doesn't affect your emotions anymore. The moon simply becomes a revealer. So that's why I make videos at the full moon and the new moon, because whatever the process has been during those 2 weeks, all of a sudden it becomes very obvious. So the sun sets the direction, the body sets the pace, the moon reveals what's true, and the earth integrates over time. So if you're in Vancouver, please join us in person on Sunday, February 1st at Ashdale Gallery. We're doing a beautiful walking meditation, and I would love to have you there. Send me a message and say ignite. That is all. Much love. Peace out.